Prosthetic Vocals, You Can Spell Layoffs with AI, and Billy Mann Sends a Love Letter. Welcome to the Unlimited Supply Podcast, your daily music business TLDR in your ear, powered by 30 years of non-machine learning and extra strength Tylenol, and brought to you by NoDisc, helping music, technology, and finance companies navigate the music industry, and partnered with Digital Music News. I'm Lars Murray. It's July 15th, 2025. It's Tech Tuesday, but before we geek out, are you in the music industry? Are you trying to bust into the music industry? Are you in the music industry and trying to help someone else bust into the music industry? Well, of course, you are at least one of those three things if you're listening to this podcast. And quite honestly, you should be all three of those things at all times. It all breaks down to do your job, always look for a better way to do your job, and help others who are worthy. Well, because you are anywhere from one to all three of the people listed above, I'm going to do a public service today and point you to old friend Billy Mann's recent LinkedIn post, which is a brilliant and succinct breakdown of how to make the most of any limited opportunity you have to talk to a very busy executive. Now, Billy frames it up as being for people who are trying to break in, but I'm here to tell you there's tips in there that everybody should take heed of, because at the heart of it, Billy is saying don't waste my time and don't waste your own. And he lays out exactly the best ways to do that. He should know he fought his way up as an artist and is one of the few execs in the business who's been a successful artist, a successful manager, and a successful label head and just about everything else. He's also a kind and caring guy to boot. So Billy's love letter is this week's required reading. There's a link in the notes. The LyricFind versus Musixmatch battle rages on in court. In case you haven't been paying attention or need an update, Musixmatch provides lyrics to Spotify and other platforms, and they cut an exclusive deal with Warner Chappell Music that boxes LyricFind out of using Warner Chappell lyrics on its service. It kind of puts LyricFind in a sticky situation. Given the depth and breadth of the Warner Chappell catalog, it means that LyricFind can't really provide a complete product to its customers. And the plot's just gotten a little thicker. LyricFind alleges that Musixmatch's primary investor, TPG Group, has been using unfair leverage on LyricFind since before the deal ever happened, is behaving in a predatory and monopolistic fashion toward LyricFind, which, after all, pioneered the entire space. Musixmatch has been trying to get the suit dismissed, and LyricFind upped the ante by releasing the unredacted version of its response to their motion this week, with a fresh allegation, at least to us, that TPG had engaged in a buy or bury strategy to force LyricFind under their umbrella or out of the business entirely. Daniel Tencer has the latest at Music Business Worldwide. All right, let's geek out. Well, it's Tech Tuesday, and that means we're going to talk about AI. For the last couple of weeks, everybody's been talking about Velvet Sundown, the somewhat viral AI-generated band that's been gathering increasing plays on Spotify. In response, the British phonographic industry, or BPI, has demanded that Spotify tag AI-created music as such. BPI's Chief Strategy Officer Sophie Jones published the demand this week. Dylan Smith has the story over at Digital Music News. And whether you think the Velvet Sundowns of the world are a lame gimmick or the future of music, it's hard to argue with BPI's logic. Over at Warner Music Group, I've got good news and bad news for you. Music Business Worldwide's Catherine Bassett is reporting that Warner Music Group is looking for a director of AI automation growth, which will report to the EVP of Strategy, Integration, and Operations. Now, a closer read of the job listing and a matching of that particular position with LinkedIn job titles reveals that this position is specific to Warner Chappell and maybe not for the entire mothership. In any case, the good news is it doesn't look like a music position per se, so it doesn't necessarily point to a proliferation of Velvet Sundowns inside WMG. The bad news is that when you put the words AI and operations together, it's probably not much of a stretch to conclude that this person is going to be looking for ways to trim, i.e. riff, which is code for layoffs at some point. From here on, spelled L-A-I-O-F-F-S. This is the world we live in, people, and it's coming, one job description at a time. WMG may be focusing on operational AI, but over at Hybe, they're using Supertone, their fully owned AI platform, to help Big Ocean JJ, an offshoot K-pop band of Big Ocean, whose members have hearing disabilities, create, quote, English lyrics with clear pronunciation and accurate pitch despite having limited auditory feedback, unquote. Which is a long way of saying training wheels, or maybe even prosthetic vocals. The track they did this on is called Bucket Hat, and to the untrained ear, it doesn't sound any more or less manufactured than a lot of your garden variety K-pop, but I'll let you judge for yourself. I'm kind of stunned not to see this story get more mainstream coverage. Alan Cross wrote about it over at the Journal of Music Things. Okay, enough AI fear and loathing for one Tech Tuesday. Let's talk about some things that are a little more artist-friendly. Over at Variety, Thania Garcia is reporting that SoundCloud has done a deal with a custom vinyl company called Electric Stage to enable SoundCloud creators to more easily manufacture vinyl on demand and service their superfans. Electric Stage will handle all the logistics, enabling SoundCloud's pro-level artists to start earning from the first sale. And if all that sounds too good to be true, well, any Vistaprint or custom ink user will know that one-off anything does not come cheap. Still, good for SoundCloud for giving its artists options. CEO Eliah Seton made the announcement. Next thing you know, they'll be offering advances to artists on highly ethical terms. Come on, SoundCloud, we're rooting for you. And we've all heard the stories of folks in the poorest regions of the world wearing unsold and obsolete merch, like those Black Keys 2024 U.S. Tour t-shirts and the 2014 Stanley Cup champion New York Ranger hats and the like. Well, those shirts need to go somewhere, and now UMG's merch division Bravado has come up with perhaps an even better solution, which is recycling unsold t-shirts down to the yarn and starting from scratch by recycling those shirts entirely. Hopefully, the recycled t-shirts will not retain any of the negative mojo associated with their previous unsold status. Anyway you slice it, it's a hell of a lot better than having them end up in a landfill. Kudos to UMG sustainability head Dylan Siegler for finding a solution rather than burying it, literally. And that's it for this Tech Tuesday. Support for the Unlimited Supply podcast is provided by Music Services, a division of CSAC Music Group. Music Services is pioneering technology, licensing, and administration solutions to meet the growing needs of record labels and music producers worldwide. For more on Music Services, visit musicservices.com. And by RoyFi. If you need an advance to take your career to the next level, RoyFi has the best rates in the industry, the fairest terms, and no hidden agendas. RoyFi is mission-driven to give artists the independence they need. See if you're eligible for an advance at RoyFi. That's RoyFi.com. If you like what you hear, please hit that follow button wherever you get your pods. I live for your praise and encouragement in person, but it helps a lot more if you drop us a rating and or a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify, and tell a friend or three, preferably 21 times. Links are in the show notes, but you can also visit unlimitedsupplypod.com to sign up for our newsletter, to tell us what you think about the show, to suggest feature ideas, to feed us info, to feed us lunch, to call us out on our dubious assertions, and to tell us what we're missing out on. I'm Lars Murray, and remember, in this business, no conflict means no interest. Copyright 2025, No Disc LLC, all rights reserved.